Good morning everyone. Just going to do a quick run through of the daily charts. Did quite a comprehensive update in Slack with pictures and stuff, so we'll keep it short and sweet today. Start off with the E-mini. Took out that 43 level with ease in the end, and so we're trying to build a higher trend. Note that what was some daily resistances, those red lines, are now support points. Nasdaq not as strong, but we've received a time continuation buy at that black square there. It's got to get over this daily level at 57.89, close above this, and what's interesting is that what was resistances at the top here have actually shifted down, and so that would open up space as well. So 57.89 is your reference there. Russell, bit of a poor relation. The weekly level, the black line, has moved to the top, but this is predictive. So what I mean by that is, if we make new highs before the end of this week, this black line will no longer be at the top, it will go back down to here again. So the high at 1434 is pretty important, so keep an eye on that. Dow Jones, as we've said, breakout mode. It's pretty quiet. Monthly went to the top, just sat there breaking up. I think we've got 21,750 as a channel line, another 200 up. The breakout point 21,169 is pretty important. Into Europe, the DAX has gapped higher this morning. Very narrow range for the DAX, considering it's nearly 11 o'clock. There's some key supports where that breakout occurred, if it's going to follow through. Eurostoxx, similar sort of story, in that it's trying to break out of the top. You can see that there is no resistances above, but it is a little bit of the poor relation. FTSE, pound down, which is a core position that we've got, is bullish for the FTSE, because a lot of the FTSE components earn their money in dollars or in overseas currencies. We had a daily buy signal on Friday, which was ahead of support, which is this key 73.13 point on the weekly. It's got to follow through and start making new highs. Quickly onto bonds. Bonds are very quiet. There's really not much going on. We know 156.10 is a pretty critical point, and until we close above that, we can't say that there's another leg higher, and that's about all we can say on bonds at the moment. Go on to currencies. Do the futures, because we'll get some more levels there, because the spot markets do not have volume. What's interesting is some daily levels have moved to the top, so there's some minor resistances appearing. Key level below 111.38. We've got a spot level a little bit closer as well. Go to the pound. Pound was trying to break down a little bit earlier. That was on the short-term charts. We've got 126.77 below. I'll just move across to my other screen just to check. Yeah, okay. Yeah, 126.77 is also a half-day level as well, so that's pretty important. Close below there, then that does open up the downside, back down to 120.64. Jeremy talked about the Aussie at a pretty important point. I think we're at a quarterly midpoint, and another level as well. We've got a very minor sell signal, time continuation. For me, it's got to get below 75.60 basis the futures, because that's the breakout point. Do that, then that opens up some levels below. Kiwi is in a similar setup. We know that it's overextended, but it's not so far breaking down. Basis the futures, we've got 71.90. That's a pretty important point. So close below there, then that does open up some levels. Dollar index. Had a buy towards the end of last week. Some daily levels have moved to the bottom. 78.24 monthly breakdown point, so that's still a fair way away. Just do the yen. Yen gave us a signal on spot and futures a few days ago, but it was into support, so this red square here. It has followed through though, so short term the future's under pressure, which means the spot should rally, so it's quoted the other way around. On the spot, got to 111.71, the high's been 79, so spot wise, close above there, that opens up some space as well. Going on to commodities, gold was under pressure, broke 52 yesterday, having comprehensively gone below that weekly support. Not a lot going on today. 12.1780 is the first target. I think intraday on gold, I'll just check. Yes, it's broken as well. Silver, we already know, we spiked up perfectly to that weekly level at 1733, which I think was last Wednesday, was it? And the high was 36. Again, pretty quiet so far today. Crude is desperately trying to hang in there. We had what looked like a bit of a timing point on unleaded yesterday, so I bought some options. The low is one tick above that weekly support, close below there, and it looks like it's failed, and we're going to continue lower. While we're on that, unleaded is back at the weekly support, 44.64, but the key really is the monthly level. And if I do Brent, that had held a monthly level, and that's back there as well, so just a fraction above it. So oil feels as though it's at a pivotal point. Go on to grains. Had the crop conditions report after hours last night. I don't know what they were, but looking at the price action, I'll check the story out a little bit later. Wheat, Chicago wheat, we remember it held the monthly support perfectly last week, and now we're storming upwards, next level 493. Three types of wheat. So Kansas City has been flirting with that weekly level at 74 3/4. We're above it today, still out of hours, close above there, and that opens up more upside. Minneapolis has already gone, so it's just gapped higher. Nothing there till 7:45. Corn was under pressure yesterday. It's still just rotating, so within this sideways pattern, really a great deal happening. 384.5 has got to be our reference point. There's meant to be some rain tomorrow in some key western parts of Iowa. Up to now there hasn't been very much rain in the last month there, so that's pretty important. That will probably make or break it in the short term this week. Soybeans, pretty quiet. We held the monthly level 926 pretty much perfectly last week, 25.5, but not a lot going on. Good soy meal. Again, failed at the monthly level a couple of weeks ago, so 30.96, and the high that day was 98. So nothing to get too enthused there. Bean oil, slightly different. We did get a pops and a time continuation buy, but it wasn't at support. Although I think I went to the range relativity and it was pretty close to the monthly level. Yeah, it was, but it wasn't quite there really. And now we're just stuck. We'll just do the stock positions and some of the ETFs. There's a couple of things going on there. Kanoko sort of ignored the weak oil, sort of hanging in there. AFL in breakout mode, although the close wasn't that great. FTR was disappointing, gave back the gains from Friday, but if we stay below 140, then it's going to give us a lowered breakout point. So Friday's high of 140 is going to move these daily levels down, and we've got August options there, so there's another 6-7 weeks to go. Actually, it's nearly 2 months actually, so there's a little bit of time left on that one. A couple of things just on sectors. Home builders is on our watch list, very close to this monthly level, positive yesterday, so watching 39.22 there. Then we have semiconductors, so crowded trade, number 2 sector, had a buy yesterday, time continuation buy. The weekly is at the top, but in a similar vein to some of those other markets I mentioned, if we make new highs, that weekly level will reset back down here. It is a long way away though, so on a crowded trade, what I really want to see is the market come all the way back up towards here, actually zoom in on the intraday levels to see if we get some resistances. I'll just quickly do it on the other screen and see where we are. Actually everything's at the moment very close to price, 147.75, and then there's nothing. Some levels have dropped there, so keeping an eye on that. The other one is SMH. Again, time continuation buy, not a massive amount of range. Weekly is at the top, but there's some daily levels as well. So people who think they've missed the party on semiconductors use this as an opportunity to get back in. They've already missed the party in a big way though, so keeping an eye on that and seeing where it's going. Telecoms, which is the number 1 sector, believe it or not, this is XTL, failed at the monthly level, is still below the weekly, so considering what the market's been doing, pretty poor performance still. And finally, RGI, which is an industrial equal weight ETF, went on our watch list on Friday because we come up to the monthly level and we had a very minor sell signal with not a lot of range. Goes on the watch list and immediately back off it. We just gapped higher and moved up. So if we then break back down and then come back to resistance, then we may be interested again. But for the moment, all bets off on that one. Okay, that's it, yeah, thanks.